A7. Hashtag UnderratedHypeTEAVA7. Hashtag Wayna. Hashtag My Love. At UnderratedHypeTV. Hashtag VerseTVA7C.
Pretending not to see the signs. I have loved that song for so many years. And quite frankly, the reason I've loved it for so many years was or is because of the beat and the melody she sings on top of it, and the fact that it's a deep song. I had such an experience with a dude putting his hands on me once. And that's why I tell my love, my heart, that he's got one time to put his hands on me, just one. And I tell him that, and I stress that so much. And with his cute self, he is just 5'2", and I'm 6'2". We're a whole foot apart, y'all. Yes, with his cute self. Anyway, but I make it a point to tell him, because I realized with the other guy who tried to put it on me, I was like, I had never told him in advance, but that's because I didn't know it was a thing that could manifest. So it wasn't until he had it manifest that I was like, oh, well, where do I stand on this? Oh, it's a no. Anyway, but yeah, that's an ELE for me. I remember one time a group of me and some associates went to a friend's house, and he had a Band-Aid on his face. And we were like, are you doing the Nelly thing? What's up with the Band-Aid on your face? And I remember looking at his boyfriend, and I was like, and his boyfriend like very quickly gave him and he said what he was apparently supposed to say, because he was like, oh, I fell up the steps. And anyway, as far as that, ultimately the two of them did break up. I think that guy, and perhaps any abuser, needs some help, because I know that the abuser, and this is not an excuse, is not an explanation, not a validation, but the abuser went through a lot of awful stuff in his life. So it's like, that's what he knows. Anyway. So yeah, oof. Okay, suffice it to say that I'm not going to tell you all the whole story, because I really feel like I value so much his opening up to me about this. And I feel like I even told him on the phone or on the video chat or whatever. When he told me that, I was like, you've never told me that about your upbringing before. I feel like we're growing so much closer. And he's like, well, And suffice it to say, I get it because we've all come a long way. And the reason that I think that the other guy needs counseling is because, yes, we've all come a long way. We've all had struggles. We've all had effed up ish happen to us. We've got to learn how to work through it. And I also, as far as upbringing, I always speak to the fact that I did have a good upbringing, and I very much appreciate my family. And my mom was always, even though my mom and dad were separated when I was born, they because they were married 4 years prior. And I guess, I don't know, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I wonder if I was like a last attempt at trying to save a marriage, and that didn't work. So anyway, I was about to get real deep. 50. Anyway, okay. But yeah, my mom would always stress to me that my dad never put his hands on me. And my mom was like, because mothers always know. They always know, y'all. They know. Because my mom was like, if a woman or a man or whatever puts their hands on you, step. She did. She might have said step because she is very articulate. She also didn't have a problem with, anyway, see my popular culture, right? Terminology. She might have been like, if your partner puts their hands on you, step, leave, end it. It is over. And she talked about how my dad never put his hands on her, and how my mom was like, the closest that happened was one time, because I had been watching so many soap operas, and the woman, when she's upset with her husband, she'll cock back and, oh, how dare you, smack him. And my mom said she attempted that one time, and she was like, oh, you, and she said she cocked her hand back to smack him. And she said that he caught her hand mid-swing, and he was like, we don't do that. And she was like, oh, okay. So, yes, my mom, my family, very anti-abuse. And that is very much an end of things. And I particularly wanted to talk about, and I'll take these last 5 minutes to talk about the fact that hetero men get abused too. And it's very unfortunate, very awful, especially considering how society receives it as, not only are you less of a man because your woman is beating you, but you're less of a man because you're crying over a woman beating you. And it's like, that's very difficult. And I remember thinking of this guy who, he's bisexual, and he came out as bisexual on a television program.